What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we got for you 10 exercises that we use to improve sprint speed. So we got some plyometrics in there. We also have some strength exercises. Both of them are super important, right? When it comes to improving speed, a lot of what it is improving force production, improving the rate of force production, and then obviously we have to work on our body angles, right? Good positive angles, because a lot of it is just force application. A lot of physics in there is involved, right? So what we're working on today is we're showing you some exercises we use to increase two of those elements, force production and rate of force production. So hopefully you enjoy this. If you do, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe. We post new videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays, so make sure you subscribe to catch all of them. Hope you enjoy. Exercise number 1, we are going hurdle jumps. We have two variations we're gonna work with. So the first one is just gonna be a regular hurdle jump. So we're over, one leads to the next, right? I bounce through. Obviously you're gonna want to work your way up to increasing the height of the hurdle. You don't need it to be crazy high to where you can't hit it cleanly, but we want it to be high because we wanna work on fast force production. Plyometrics are fantastic at that. We've talked about it a bunch in our videos, but having that ability to pop up every single time, and the higher we can pop, the greater potential for speed that we have. A big part of speed is vertical force production, especially when we're in our top speed. So having that ability to use one jump to propel you up while also taking you forward pretty much mimics that of sprinting. What we can also do, other than just a straight hurdle jump, is gonna be a hurdle with a broad jump. So what this is doing, the same thing, vertical force. Now we also work a little bit more on isolating horizontal force production in there, builds up stiffness, right? We uses like diversion of forces. So we go from one jump into the next, using your momentum to help carry you. That way you don't have to be the one constantly producing force. You can utilize energy stored to help you bounce through. So I'm doing this on a small scale, but it'd be something like I'm here, land, broad up, right? Just like that. As you go through, one jump leads to the next. Just work on diverting your forces. Number 2, sticking to the plyometric theme, we're going single leg broad jumps. I've talked about how much I love these for sprinting in multiple other videos, but these ones are fantastic at working on fast force production, stiffness through the entire lower limb, and it really mimics the idea of sprinting. Right, when we are sprinting, we're kind of just bounding from one limb to the next. So those people who can do single leg broad jumps really fast can oftentimes sprint really fast. Can you just utilize energy to bounce from one to the next, right? A lot of the times when we put force into the ground, actually all the time when we put force into the ground, you get equal and opposite reactions, right? So the force I put in, that ground is gonna push it back into me. So if I can utilize that force, then when I go to sprint, I'm gonna be really strong. I'm gonna utilize that energy. So for a single leg broad, we're gonna be here. We're just gonna bounce all the way down, right? Something just like that. You can go a different number of like distance depending on your level. You can also do something like a single leg hop, where it's a little bit smaller than a single leg broad. But like I said, we're just working on that entire lower limb, working on that ability, that foot placement, and the ability to just have that one leg get my body just going. Number 3, we're going trap bar. So I love trap bar because it's a fantastic way to work on force production. So we have two different things that we're gonna hit with trap bar. First up, we're just going for force production, right? So we're just lifting load. Obviously this is not crazy amounts of load, 65 pounds. Just pretend it's more, right? But just your typical trap bar where we're here, down and up, we're just driving force into the ground. If we can improve our max strength, we are gonna get faster if we can transfer that into fast force production, which leads us into our second trap bar exercise. You want to make sure that in addition to improving your max strength, right, which is when we'll just hit some stuff to get stronger, you want to make sure that you're applying force fast. So that's going to look something like a trap bar speed pull, where I'm here and then as fast as I can, I stand up. So that is all about impulse, right? Changing your momentum, changing your velocity, how fast can you go from nothing to full on as fast as you can, that velocity, that change in velocity, right? So this is fantastic to help develop that, because when we come to sprinting, like I said, force production and fast force production, two things that these hit. Number 4, we're going a barbell split squat. So sprinting by nature is a unilateral exercise. Therefore, it makes sense that we need to train some unilateral exercises to improve strength. It's super important we're not just hitting bilateral stuff, right? We really need to work on each leg individually, build it up, fix imbalances. So what we're gonna do, bar on the back, I'll step it out a little bit so you guys can see. Right here, we're just gonna drop it down, 90-90 at my knees. I'm driving off that front leg. I'm just working on that ability to have force travel through my front leg. So as I'm here, I'm loading it. When I push back, I'm loading it strength through my entire limb. Obviously, you want to hit the other side as well. We want to work to be able to go pretty heavy on this, right? Because that's what's going to show that increased tolerance of force, I'll say absorption. When we're sprinting, there is a crap ton of load on our joints, on our muscles, on our leg, right? We're working really fast, we're running really fast with lots of work. So all the force that you're producing at speed is going in your body. So if we can just utilize that to just go one to the next, and for that we have to be really strong. So I love doing that. You can also hit like a goblet or some other, you can also do with a trap bar, some other variation. But I do love a barbell split squat to really target that. All right, another exercise of the utmost importance for sprinting fast is going to be anything that develops our posterior chain, specifically our hamstrings, our glutes, right? So I think we have 3 exercises on here to really target this. First up being Nordics. So there's lots of different versions of this we can do, right? We can hit like an eccentric all the way down. We can hit a full rep. We can hit an iso where we drop it in, we hold it. We can hit banded to help ease the load a little bit. Regardless of what you're doing, as long as you're working on some type of motion like this, where my hamstrings are just rapidly engaged, then that's what's going to be critical. There's a whole bunch of posterior chain involvement when it comes to sprinting. But if we look at it from a different perspective, it's really important to have posterior chain strength to help reduce injuries. We see it a lot, the hamstring injury for people when they're sprinting, right? So in order to help reduce, you can never prevent, but you can significantly reduce the chance. We need to have really strong posterior chain. And hitting a Nordic is fantastic because it works the entire chain, especially back of the knee as well, right? So as we go down, we're just loading it. And if we can have really great tolerance there, we're gonna see that transference during speed. Still on the posterior chain, another exercise I am currently obsessed with programming is a single leg foam roller hip bridge. So the exact same reasons I talked about with the Nordic, right? The posterior chain strength, the same thing applies here, but even more so now we're starting to introduce a lot more of that lower limb, posterior chain, calf, Achilles, also my foot and my ankle. So what I'm gonna do is I got this foam roller. I'm gonna drive with the ball of my foot. So the ball of my foot is on that foam roller, other leg up. I'm gonna lift and I'm holding this right here. So you're gonna fire up everything, my calf, my hamstring, my glute. And the goal is to keep your hips up as high as you possibly can the entire time. It's gonna be pretty challenging at first. Probably gonna feel like you're gonna cramp, but through working the calf and the hamstring, the glute, the same thing we keep saying, right? We improve force production. Doing isometrics like this is fantastic for our structural tissue. It takes a while for that to develop and to adapt, especially our tendons. So when we hold those isometrics, that's one of the best things we can do for it. And if we improve the use of our tendons, then what we're gonna do is improve our utilization of energy, right? They're kind of like springs, they hold energy. And if I can just utilize my energy, then it's gonna make me a lot faster and a lot more efficient. Alrighty, so we've hit 2 posterior chain focused exercises for strength with some isos in there. Now we're gonna work on producing some fast force. So for this, we're gonna hit a single leg kettlebell swing. So it's pretty much a kettlebell swing. We're going on one leg. I like to hold on to something with my arm because I don't really want balance to be a thing here. So I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna drop and I'm gonna drive, just like this. So I'm loading at a speed. My one leg is allowing for all this to happen. So I love this exercise because it rapidly puts the hamstring on stretch and you have to rapidly contract, just like we do with sprinting, right? As I'm here, I lengthen, I'm here, lots of force is impacting my body as I contact the ground, and then I real quickly bring it up, right? So that lengthen, contraction, something like this where we work on that ability to expand and contract is going to be so important for when you're trying to improve your sprinting. So there's lots of ways we can do it. I just really like hitting this exercise. Alrighty, I think I've mentioned this before, but we're working on improving the foot and the ankle. So I believe it was when we were doing the foam roller hip bridge that I mentioned working on the foot and ankle. But this is probably one of the most important, if not the most important, aspects of getting faster and, I guess I was gonna say faster and stronger, but if we're just focusing on speed, a lot of athletes who come in are so beyond weak in their feet and their ankles. What that does is it allows so much energy to dissipate. You know the saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link? Well, let's say I have like a really powerful hip and glute and hamstring and quad, and I can just put so much force into the ground, but my feet and my ankles can't withstand that load. Then as I'm generating all this power, once it reaches my feet and my ankles, they can't handle it. So they're only gonna be able to pass through what they can handle. So I'm pretty much wasting all that energy. And then a step further, as I said at the start, when you put force into the ground's gonna push back into you and apply that same force. So if you can't handle the force that you're pushing in to start, and you certainly can't handle the load that's coming back into you from the ground, we're gonna have a problem. So in order to fix this, a lot of what we do is gonna be something like a spring ankle iso. So this one, I definitely did not create this. This one's Cal Dietz, the man himself, right? We're gonna be here, we're gonna push up, slight bend, and I'm trying to maximize the distance between my heel and the ground. Keep your torso upright. I'm firing my calf as hard as I can, trying to drive into the ground. That's really gonna work to strengthen up the foot, my calf, the ankle, the Achilles. So as I'm sprinting, number one, I can withstand all the force I'm producing and I'm receiving from the ground, but also, once again, I'm gonna utilize energy, right? Think of your lower limb kind of like a spring, or think of like a kangaroo or a gazelle. When they're bouncing, their lower limb is really stiff and really strong, so they can just pop. We essentially want the same thing, right? We want to be able to just pop. So we got to build strength there. So as we're running, we're not letting energy dissipate and we're not collapsing every time. So in addition to the spring ankle, another exercise I love is going to be something just like a split squat with a heel pump. So I'm gonna put half my foot on an elevated surface. I got the platform, you can use a plate. I'm gonna drop into a split squat right here. I'm loading this. If you're really good at this, you can also put like a dumbbell right here or a plate. I'm gonna drop in, keep my foot level, and then I'm gonna raise it up and bring it back down. I'm just gonna work this, just hit my reps right here. That's gonna really build up the foot, the ankle, the lower limb. In addition to these, honestly, one of the best things you can do, plyometrics. So make sure you're getting some of these in your programs and plyos, and you're gonna be solid. Number 9, we're going rotational jumps. So this might sound counterintuitive because if you're thinking sprinting, we're kind of thinking linear, right? Straightforward. But what if I tell you that pretty much every single force your body creates is rotational force because of our joints and our body mechanics, the way our body moves, right? So when we're producing force, most of it's rotational, right? You've heard the term torque. So we have to be working on rotational jumps to improve rotational power. What I love to do, we'll take a box. We got a bunch of different variations depending on your level, but something just like this, right? That super simple 90-degree turn. We can also hit it a little bit more where we hit a 180 right here, right? We can go even more 270, right? Work our way to 360. That's like for our snowboarders and skiers. We can also hit some single leg stuff, right? Where I'm here, I jump and I land here, vice versa. I also like to hit some crossover stuff where I'm here, I jump and I rotate. Number one, that's great for injury reduction, but also to training rotational force. Like I said, that is so applicable to sprinting because the way our body moves, the way our body produces force, a lot of it is rotational. Last but not least, did you guys really think you would get out of this one without seeing some hang cleans? These are fantastic. Fast force production, that is the name of the game for hang cleans, right? I'm not gonna actually do it because as we all know, whenever I hang clean, I damn near break my mic. But I'm gonna be here, right? You drop in fast and then you obviously finish the clean. Not like that, I'm protecting the mic. You finish the clean, that drop in fast, and then that quick out, that transition at the bottom, that is so important. Hang cleans are also great for our neurological system, right? Connecting mind to muscle, producing rapid amounts of force as fast as we can. If we don't like hang cleans, or if you don't want to do them, can't do them, depending on your sport, right? I probably, like for our baseball players, I don't really have them do it. Also for like our tennis athletes, usually not volleyball, just anything that's like shoulder, wrist, basketball, I'm a little cautious with it, just given the demands of the sport. You still need to get in some type of fast force production exercise that you can also load, right? Let me throw that in there. Plyometrics are great for like unloaded. You can load them a little bit, but something like a hang clean, what I'm about to show you guys next, a landmine split jerk, or even the speed pull, the trap bar speed pull that I showed you earlier. One reason these are so great is because you can add load to it. So you're working on literally the fast and the force of fast force production. How fast can you move that load? So landmine split jerk, we're here, we load, we jump, we get real strong. I like it as well because notice my feet, right? I'm up on the balls of my feet, so I'm strengthening my foot, my ankle, my lower limb. I load it, so I'm jumping out of that position, right? I'm not here, I'm here, boom, I pop. It's my lower body producing that force. My upper body just extends with it. Something else we can do, I like a landmine because you can load it up pretty heavy. It's pretty safe. And if you guys have been following the channel, you know that I have PTSD from barbell split jerks from smacking myself in the face. But if you don't have PTSD like me, then we can hit a barbell split jerk. So I'm down and I'm up. That one's super fantastic. I really do like that one. You can even hit a snatch, right? I'm not like the biggest snatch fan in the world just because I low-key suck at them, calling myself out right now, right? But here, and just being really strong in that position, all of it is fast force production. So whatever you're doing, as long as you're producing force fast. So hopefully you enjoy this. Whew, I'm out of breath. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.